Hey, how you guys doing? It's the fourth and goal broadcast. Live tonight with me is Ron Hampton, Packer fan. We're going to talk some Packer football and see where he is about his team. How's everybody doing tonight? How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing good. How about you? I appreciate you having me on.
I'm doing pretty good. It should be in there now. I just shared it in the group, bud.
I think I just found you here.
Sorry for the MIA and picture for personal stuff.
I see you found the goats video. If no one is aware, at 5 o'clock today, a new goat video came back. First one in 2 years. How about that?
Hey man, I found it. I think I'm looking at the goats video right now.
Yeah, I just heard it playing in the background, so it was like perfect advertisement. I finally sat down and made me a video. I had fun with that. Once you take a break, Ron, from making videos, it seems like it takes forever, man. I thought I could do it in like an hour. I think it took me like 4 hours to make the whole video.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go.
If you're a Green Bay fan and you're
Let me
seeing
go
this,
to
you
4TH&Goal
might
here, see
want
if
to
I can
stick
find the
around.
live here.
You might want to type my name in it. It should pop right up.
No, it's bringing it up. I just gotta get into it here. There we go.
Bear with us, guys.
Okay.
So I'll take some minute.
All right. Here we go. All right. Now I got you up.
So, Ron, first question I got for you. I know I probably asked this in a long time,
Shoot.
but I was kind of curious myself. So I know we go way back about what, 4 years now, something around that. It's been about 4 years since I've met you. How did you end up becoming a Packer fan?
Back before, believe it or not, you're gonna laugh at this. Back before I was a Packer fan, was when I was young. I was still just I was like basically essentially a fan of the colors of the team and the logos on the helmet. That's how young I was. And believe it or not, before I discovered the Packers, I was actually a full-on Philadelphia Eagle fan. Back before I ever even knew who the Packers were. Just because I liked the color of their helmet and I liked the wings on their helmet.
Oh, kidding! See, I never knew you used to be an Eagles fan. So what made you convert?
I mean, I can't even really say I was. I can't even really say I was a fan, and I can't even prove because I don't even have anything from the Eagles. But I mean, this was literally when I was like maybe 7 or 8, watching Monday Night Football on the floor with my dad. I mean, that's how long ago it's been. Ever since then, I've been a Packer fan, and I've always hated the Dallas Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys.
I'm not. I have nothing against the Cowboys, and it's always fuck the Cowboys. I think it's just the fan base of the Cowboys. Every time you see a Cowboy fan, it's always we're winning it all this year, and then every year it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Speaking of
I
the
think
Cowboys,
a lot of it has to do with me is.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of it that has to do with me is I'm not a fan of any team of the state that I live in. And I lived in Texas, so I hated the Houston Oilers. I hated the Dallas Cowboys. I disliked the Texans. I can't stand the Steelers, and I live in Pennsylvania now. I mean, it's just I have I don't, maybe it's just because I see how their fans are when you live in that same state. fuck, who knows? I may move to Green Bay and hate the Packers. Who knows? I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just something I've always done.
Yeah. So that's when you became. So what exactly? I don't know if I missed it, but what caught your eye about the Packers that made you start buying Packers gear and all that?
Well, I never really had a lot of stuff for the Packers when I was an early fan of theirs. I kind of got into it as I found stuff on Facebook, and I found different ways to get into like break rooms and just my kids buying me stuff for Father's Day and stuff like that. That's really where my collection got started, and it just blew up from there.
Exactly. I don't know who, if anybody remembers, we all know Ron used to have one of the best break rooms. I think the best. It was the only break room I played in. I actually missed that. I was just honestly today at work, I was just honestly thinking about that. Because I think the last break I got in, I almost won it. I think I was runner up. I think it was a Barry Sanders helmet. Not that cool one, but it was a different one. It's been a few years ago, obviously. Now brings me to another question for you. Do you ever think about maybe getting back into doing breaks again?
Not really. I mean, if the right opportunity came along, maybe. But with the way the government's got shit covered up now, they're going into everybody's cash app and saying if you have a $600 transfer in your cash app, you got to be double taxed for it and this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of break rooms are going to die because of that.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I pretty much quit using Cash App.
Not only that. Well, Cash App's all I got left. I don't have PayPal anymore. I don't have Venmo anymore. I've got Messenger Pay and Cash App. That's really the only two I've got. And I'll never get a PayPal back, and I'll never get a Venmo back because both of them stole money from me. So I'll never even apply for them again. PayPal got me for almost $1,175, and Venmo got me for almost $600. So I was like, nope, I'm done. Never getting them again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I had someone hacked my account on my PayPal for $100. So I took my card off. I kept my PayPal. My daughter convinced me to get rid of these Jordans from these websites, Jordan 1s, the Carolina blue and white.
Right.
And Nike had them for like $500. She found some site out of Memphis, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I ordered them because they were like $275. And PayPal had that, you can make 4 payments. So I saw they let me make the 4 payment deal. Well, it took my first payment out, and then then it dawned on me I should probably check the site. Well, previously when I got that money hacked, I tried to contact PayPal and they gave me the runaround, so I never got my money back. So it brings me to this. I looked up the Google site, and the reviews on it said it was a fake company. I'm like, what? So I typed the address in, and it popped up a Kmart in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm like, Kmart with Jordan 1s? This don't make sense. So I canceled my card.
You gotta watch that shit, man. They're starting to steal. What they're doing is they'll steal people's ads, and it'll look legit, right?
Yeah.
They can get them from anybody. They can get them from Amazon. They can get them from PayPal. They can get them from Cash App. They can get them from anybody. I mean, all they got to do, all they're doing is going in there and they're finding a page, and they're copying and pasting that page and then putting their information on there, making it look legit that you're sending money to that place, but instead you're sending it to they're sending that money somewhere overseas or
Yeah.
offshore, and that's it. You never see your money again. You never get no product. You gotta be careful of this shit, man.
Yeah, so I canceled my card. But here's the funny thing is I had it, my dad's girlfriend works from home. So I had it designated to go there because someone would be home. I don't want Jordan 1s being on my porch while I'm at work, and my kid's at school. So my dad calls me, I drop him off. He goes, there's a box of tennis shoes at my house. I'm like, a box of tennis shoes? What are you talking about? He opens them up and he goes, yeah, they're the Jordan 1s he ordered. I'm like, no way. I looked them over, they're legit. But then Amazon, but I canceled my card. And I'm like, you know what? I could be right. And call them and say, hey, man, my bad, they worked. But I'm like, when they stole that money on my account, they wouldn't give me they told me I had to make a police report, prove who did it. And I'm like, I don't even know the person. It was a random person.
Right.
So I'm like, and you guys let it go through.
Yeah, you'll never see that money again.
So I'm like, you know what? You got me once, but I got you back. And
Right.
so now it's like even
absolutely.
Steven.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
But it just worked out because I really thought I got scammed, guys. So like I'm not playing. I thought I lost the first payment, and I'm like, yep, I got scammed because I was just trying to get stuff done fast, and I don't blame you. And that does bring up a good point. That's why I don't play. See, I haven't been active in a lot of break rooms, so I don't know who's legit and who's fake. At this moment. So that's why I haven't got in no breaks.
I mean, big boy breaks is still doing pretty good, but I think that they don't really try to get around the paying the taxes and this, that, and the other. I think they just do whatever because them guys can get homeless left and right, and they're not. Whereas me, I would have to go out and I would have to pay not necessarily retail price for the helmets, but I would get a little bit of a break on them. Whereas big boy breaks, they're so in deep with different people that they can get those helmets for pennies on the dime, and they've got actual employees that go out to signings and get people to sign these helmets and get Beckett and JSA to authenticate them and all that stuff like that. Whereas I would have to buy my helmets already signed. I didn't have the foot soldiers in a sense to go out and get the stuff done.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of dedication. I mean, to do all that. Because I got a, if you can see this helmet behind me, the plain one. The one to the left is the one Stafford signed. You can see the writing on top. But the plain one, I've thought about going up a couple of times, and I'm going to the one store in Livonia where a lot of Lions players go, and I'm gonna get some autographs on it. I'm gonna do it. I've just been kind of like pacing myself because I've seen the pictures of the lines, and I'm just like, holy crap, that's a long line to sit there. Like, so it's.
Well, you see the ones I've got behind me. This one's a one of a kind Brett Favre. Obviously, you've seen that one 100 times. That's one of a card in Brett Favre on the bottom.
Yeah,
that's an Aaron Rodgers up there, and that's a Rashawn Gary up there. So,
you still got your Aaron Jones, right?
I might be. No, I got rid of all my Aaron Jones.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
he's actually staying with you guys.
Yeah, I just kind of. Well, I know he is. He signed that Aaron Jones done a solid for Green Bay at this point. He took a $5 million pay cut. And that's going to save Green Bay $8.52 million in salary. It's going to end up being to where it's going to save Green Bay time you do bonuses and all of that shit. It's going to give them 11.816 million in cap space from him signing that deal alone. And that's just Aaron Jones.
Yeah. So speaking of it, since we're moving to the Packers, and what do you think is going to go on with Brady?
With Brady.
Yep,
Brady's
he
gonna
wants to
retire.
know.
I think Brady's well, I mean, he's already retired. I don't see him coming back again. I think he's done. I think the shit that went down with his old lady, and you have to understand, Brady took a swift kick in the ass with that FTX. When they were laundering that money through FTX and shit, Brady had $650 million involved in that FTX. And he lost all 650 million of it. Now, granted, his old lady's worth twice the money he is, but she's not there anymore. She's gone, and that's what caused their divorce was that FTX scandal bullshit. And so I think Brady's.
I thank you for answering, but I don't know why I said Brady. I meant Aaron Rodgers, so I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
No, you're good.
Okay. Well, here's my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers.
You freeze?
No, to Aaron Rodgers. Not everything is your receiver's fault. You have faults as well. Okay. And if you're not willing to come to training camp and work with these receivers and get on the same page with them, don't expect them to come out there and cup your balls, buddy. You know? So you get paid millions of dollars to play a game. And that's literally what it is. It's to play a game. I get you want your name to be in the limelights and all that stuff like that. But you got to check yourself from time to time. You can't continue to hold the Packers hostage every time an off season comes along. I don't like that. I mean, if you need time to think, fine. Say you need time to think, but don't hold them captive and say you're going on a darkness retreat and this, that, and the other. And then even when you get out of this darkness retreat, come back and still not say nothing. You're holding the team hostage. They've got to make a decision and they've got to move money around in order to either keep you or let you go or trade you, whatever, So in a sense, he's holding them hostage. This is what.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, finish. Seriously. I was going to ask another question. I just didn't want to cut you off. I thought you were done.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. At this point, if they're going to trade Aaron Rodgers, this is what they need to do. Okay. They don't need to tell teams or let teams what they want for Aaron Rodgers. Okay. That's one of the worst things the front office can do. If you're dead set that you're going to trade Aaron Rodgers and you're going to go with Jordan Love, what you need to do is you need to say, okay, he's up on the market. Well, we're not. Don't put out there. Don't say I want 2 first-round picks for him. Don't say I want 1 first-round pick on a player or whatever. What you need to do is you need to market yourself to different teams and say, send me your best offers. Once you see where their mindset is, where the other team's mindsets are, that's when the haggling comes in. That's when you haggle a package or a deal. But the one thing you got to make sure is once you get those teams' offers, you need to make sure it's going to work for the Packers. Because if it's not going to work for the Packers, why would you do it? Because you need people on that team that is going to get behind Jordan Love to either make him successful or make him fall. And if you're going to get players on that team that's going to make him fall, then keep Aaron Rodgers. If you're going to put people around Jordan Love that will make him a successful quarterback, by all means, get what you can get for Aaron Rodgers and get him out the door. That's the way I look at it.
Now, do you see him? Would you be surprised if he don't even want to be traded and he just wants to retire? Would you be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I mean, me personally,
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
me personally, I would love that. You know why I would love that? And if you watch the GOAT video, you know why. It's because the last game, Lambeau Field, Sunday Night Football, he lost to that team again. He would have to sit for eternity, rest of his life, and every time he thought about the last game, the Lions would be in his head, rent free. So for me as a Lions fan, I hope he does. Because then we got something finally on Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not ashamed to say it. We would have that one thing on Aaron Rodgers, because we all know Aaron Rodgers has had Detroit's number over the years. But that would be a satisfaction, I believe, for any Detroit Lions fan. I know I love it.
Well, you know, I respect you, Chris, and everything, but I will say this. You want Aaron Rodgers gone, because I watched you and Dave's podcast the other night, and Dave hit the nail on the head when he said, you guys are afraid of Aaron Rodgers, and you are 100%. You're afraid of Aaron Rodgers. Every team in the NFC North is afraid of Aaron Rodgers.
See, that's the thing.
Anytime Aaron Rodgers is in a game, you have a chance of winning. So,
see, here's the thing, and we probably should have went more in depth on that. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm not afraid. Do I worry about Rodgers? Of course, you're going to worry about any fans.
Well, that's what I mean
about Rodgers. You know what I mean? Because he's still a good quarterback. He can still win the North. You know, so in that aspect, yeah, you're always going to worry about it. But would I say I'm scared? No, because look at my team this year. This was a roller coaster year for us. Yeah, we almost made it, but the best part of it, our rookies owned Aaron Rodgers this year. What can they do next year with all this experience going to even a better team, a better situation against Aaron Rodgers? So I wouldn't naturally say right now I fear him. Why do I fear him? We beat him twice already when no one expected us to beat him once. I mean, come on now. No one picked us any games to win against the Packers. Not
yeah,
one.
You're right. I mean, the Lions are. You're right. The Lions are improved, but so was Minnesota, and look where they ended up.
But here's the thing with Minnesota, and it's literally no shade because it's facts right now, is I think the Lions also proved that they weren't the best team. Our coach just fucked up and made the wrong call and cost us the game. They got lucky. They got lucky a lot of games last year. A lot of those games were a 1-point score and they barely held on. And I'm not saying that they were a shit team. They deserved to win the North. There's no excuses, no complaints about that. You know, they won enough games. They found a way to win. But this year, they have worse. I'm pretty sure they have the worst cap situation in the North. They're worse off than the Packers are right now with money, if you want to be technical. So how many people can even stay in Minnesota? How much people can they bring in to get better? They got some real money issues going on over there.
I can pretty much guarantee you one person that's not going to be in Minnesota at the start of the 2023 season, and that's going to be Adam Thielen. And I really don't think Dalvin Cook will be there either.
There's a lot of rumors that Dalvin Clark wants to be out.
They're going to have to do. They're going to have to do something, because it's not here yet. When it comes time to pay Justin Jefferson, he's going to demand a lot of fucking money, and if you ain't got it to give to him, he's going to go elsewhere. That man is
Exactly.
he's gonna demand a lot of money. Right now, other than Devontae Adams, I think him and Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams are right on the same page. And look how young Justin Jefferson is.
You
That
do
dude's
you
got a
want
bright future ahead of him.
do you want my prediction on that Justin Jefferson? Because you know what they're starting to, you know what they're trying to compare
Go
him
ahead.
to? They're trying to compare him to Megatron already. They're already calling Justin Jefferson the next Megatron. Now, no disrespect to Justin Jefferson. Kid's gonna be a great receiver. But this kid is only in the league 2 years so far. Yeah, his rookie year is pretty good. His sophomore season was fantastic. But you don't get to compare, you shouldn't be getting compared to a fucking legend. Not after the second year, like you could be, the projected to be the next, that's fine, but like calm down. Like they're already posting memes and things and comparing them on the same level, saying he's better. I just shared a meme the other day that someone made and they were sharing a page shared and they were putting him over Megatron already. So by the time I think he's a free agent, just because it's the second year and he's getting compared to Megatron, I bet you he's going to set a new market for wide receiver pay.
Well, here's the thing. These memes and stuff that come out on Facebook, it's all by a bunch of people that have no clue what the hell they're talking about.
No,
The
I
people
know.
that are coming out and saying, all the people that are coming out and saying that the Packers front office is done with Aaron Rodgers, they're fed up with him, they're moving on, this, that, and the other. You might as well do this with it because they don't
For
know what they're
sure.
fucking talking about.
For
They
sure.
have no clue.
I was just saying, like, I was just saying an example where I seen it. You know what I mean? I know it means nothing. It don't bother me. I was just thinking, I'm just looking back and like, okay, second year, he got a few more years on that rookie deal. If they're starting this already, ESPN and all the big networks are going to start comparing him here soon to Megatron just because he's in the north. And then by the time he gets that level, he's going to have him by the corners saying, "This is what I am. This is how much I want." And he could. I think if somebody sets a new bracket for wide receiver, it's going to be him. I mean, you got Mahomes making $500 million. How long until the next position on that list is a wideout? It's going to be a wideout or running back that's going to get that kind of money. At some point in time, it might be 10-year contract, a 12-year contract, whatever it is. But somebody's going to get close to that bracket. It happens all the time, and I think he's going to be the person to do that. Just like I watched the skills challenge where they did the best catch. They made it more big of a deal about Jefferson's catch off the fake Eiffel Tower in Vegas. Matt Leinart was on that the Eiffel Tower in Vegas. They got on the strip and threw Justin Jefferson the ball, and he caught it one-handed. And it was a good catch. But right before they showed his, you got St. Brown doing somersaults and catching a pass into a pool. Like way more cooler and skilled than Justin Jefferson's pass. He's just standing there on the sidewalk. Like any pro wide receiver can do a one-handed catch off of that. I'm pretty sure me and you could have done that. It might have took us 80 tries, but I'm pretty sure we at least got one of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
hey, one of them's got to fall your way eventually.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so the NFL's already marketing him up as the next big great thing coming. So I believe Minnesota might get out of a jam, but they're going to find themselves in a jam in the next 2-3 years with that. I'm pretty sure they probably.
We're kind of in the same boat, though. I see memes out there saying that it's time to move on from Aaron Rodgers and bring in Jordan Love, and that the front office has seen enough in the last 3 years from Jordan Love to think that he can come in and run the team, this, that, and the other. They think I even seen a post that said he's Aaron Rodgers 2.0, and they really believe that he can do that. Do I think that? Absolutely fucking not. But I will say this, and I'll put these facts out there to you. Rodgers' passer rating through his first 3 games as a Green Bay Packer was 39.8, 65 yards, 1 TD one interception through 3 games, no touchdowns. Okay. That's Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love through one game, 69.5, 190 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception in 1 game. So you got to take that into consideration. His numbers are higher than Aaron Rodgers right now. Does that mean it's going to equate in him to being as good or better than Rodgers? Only time will tell.
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say Jordan Love don't have a chance, because obviously I think anybody who makes the NFL has a chance. You're not there. You don't make the NFL in a first round pick anyway by mistake. I want to see how good he does. I'm not going to sit there and say he's going to be a bum or be a quarterback that you're going to move on from. But I'm not 100% sure that he can step in there and take you to the playoffs or, even a winning record. He might take a year or two to get adjusted. And the only why I say this is just because this is how I truly feel. I brought this up. I don't know if you were watching this broadcast. It might have been the first one me and David did, the very first episode I brought this up. And this is what I brought up by Aaron Rodgers. What really irritates me, and I feel like, and this is kind of what irritates me a little bit about Packer fans, not everyone, but the fans I'm talking about. They think Aaron Rodgers can do no wrong. And he's, they support every move. They make every excuse for his comments and actions. My thing is, this year, it was still your division to lose. Even with you losing Adams, Rodgers did the same shit he did this year. He didn't show up to OTAs. He only showed up to training camp, mandatory training camp. Now, if he was really caring about winning, and this is what irritated me all season with his comments, especially when he was, talking shit about the wideouts, is if you were there in OTAs, all these rookie wideouts would have had extra practice. You could have hashed probably half of the shit you dealt with in the beginning of the season. You might have got that worked out by the end of preseason. Your wide receiver core could have had chemistry with you, and you might have had trust in your wideouts by the first week of the season. But no, you sat there and doing DMT wherever God knows where you're at, what country, and then come back here and bragging how you're doing DMT and you can't fail a drug test, and then crying because your season sucked to start the year off.
I agree 100%. He should have been at OTAs and all that stuff. I didn't like the fact that he wasn't, especially knowing that Davante Adams was going to be gone. But on the same hand, I also think that Aaron Rodgers was a little pissed off that Davante Adams was going to be gone. And he even said in an interview one time, he said, I really thought that when I said that I would come back and rework my schedule, that Davante Adams was going to be there. And Green Bay tried to keep him there. Green Bay offered Davante Adams more money to stay with Green Bay than the Raiders did. Yeah. But Davante Adams was unsure of where Aaron Rodgers' head was, which goes back to my earlier statement. Stop holding the team hostage and make your feelings known. Because if you'd have made your feelings known that you thought you were going to sign another 3-year contract, Adams might have stayed,
That was my thing too, is you're 100% right. I don't blame for Adams leaving. Adams is not trying to play a whole year, go to the playoffs and then have to sit there and turn on the TV, and every time he turns the sporting channel on, even if it's watching a basketball game on ESPN, he got to see the bottom. About Aaron Rodgers, not sure he's coming back. Who wants to be in that position every year?
Right. I agree. I agree 100%.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's probably highly pissed off that he got to deal with it in Vegas already. But I think he made a bad move, and it wasn't his fault. I think Josh McDaniels is going to ruin that team. His only savior is if Aaron Rodgers comes. What I really thought his savior was Tom Brady. I thought Tom Brady would have stole Vegas from Rodgers, and that's why I'm kind of tad bit little mad at Brady, because I was hoping for the news that Rodgers wants to be traded, he wants to go to Vegas, and then I was hoping that Brady was like, hey, watch this.
I can tell you right now, Chris, and there's a lot of people that'll disagree with me on this, but Aaron Rodgers, even if he does get traded, he is not going to the West Coast. He's not. He's not going to the 49ers. He's not going to he might go to Vegas. And if he does that, only reason he would be because of Devontae Adams. And that is it. That is the only reason.
Now, I mentioned this to Dave on the broadcast. I think you might have been watching. I just want to hear your opinion since I got you on. It's kind of crazy because I don't know if it would actually work, mind you. But for Green Bay's sake, this could be perfect, especially if you have doubts in Jordan Love. And that's only if you truly have doubts in Jordan Love as a franchise. What if Aaron Rodgers says, I do want to be traded, but I want to go home to the 49ers? What if you could get the 49ers to give you Prudy in return for Rodgers?
No, because I think the Packers would want more for Rodgers than just another quarterback.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to get 49ers going to have to for sure throw a draft pick in there.
Well, they're going to have.
You know what I'm saying? There's going to be more to the package. But what I'm saying is, if you could move Rodgers to the 49ers, get Prudy in a high, like a second round draft pick, maybe even a first round draft pick with him. So you get a quarterback. Now you got Prudy that just proved that he can ball out. He got the arm. He can play good QB. And then you still have Jordan Love in case of that backfires.
Well, I'll tell you why I don't think that'll happen. Because even if we were to get Purdy and a draft pick from the 49ers, look how far the 49ers went this year. Their draft pick is going to be low as fuck. And nobody's going to take that low of a draft pick for Aaron Rodgers. And if you bring Purdy in there to have a quarterback battle with Jordan Love's going to get pissed off, and he's going to demand a trade because he's been sitting 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. He's going to want to play. And if Purdy comes in there and plays better than him and they put him in as a starting role and still set Jordan Love on the bench, Jordan Love's going to demand a trade. It could be a disastrous turnaround for Green Bay, and I do not see them doing it at all.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. It was a risky. I just wanted to throw it out there because I thought about the other day, and it's risky on both ends, but.
And I'm with the guy and David here in the comments too, that's saying there's no way they're going to trade him within the NFC. He's right on that because they don't want to face him. He'll go to an AFC team. I 100% agree with David on
that. Hey, David, I didn't really stick on it. I just wanted Ron's opinion on it because 100% it wouldn't happen. But if it could, it couldn't happen. But then again, I don't know.
I look at it like this, and this is what I see Green Bay doing. If they go with Jordan Love, okay, and this is only if they go with Jordan Love, because right now it's still up in there. I don't care what all these sportscasters and analysts are saying because they don't know their ass from all around. They're grasping at straws for a story. That's all they're doing. Okay. They don't know if the front office is pissed off. I don't care how many inside sources you say you have. Inside sources to me basically means my buddy told me that Roger said this. That's what that equates to me. It holds no water. It's like carrying a 5-gallon bucket with a golf ball size hole at the bottom of it. I don't even pay no attention to it.
Exactly. No,
but what I see is if the Green Bay Packers either trade or let Rodgers retire. You have to understand, Rodgers is still under contract with the Packers.
Oh, for sure.
So he does not. The only thing he has on his side right now is he can say, I'm done, I'm retired. He can request a trade. That doesn't mean Green Bay has to give it to him. He's still under contract. Okay. But If they do get rid of Rodgers and Rodgers is no longer a Green Bay Packer, no matter where he goes or what he does, and they go with Jordan Love, I see the Green Bay Packers going maybe 6-8. And if he does really good and they get a really good schedule, a 10 would be an anomaly. But if they get 10 wins, that would put them in the playoffs because of the 17 games set schedule. But I really see them going more of a 6-8. And think about this. Think about this. When Rodgers started his year in Green Bay, he went 6-10 his first year. And what did that spur? Think about it. What did it spur? That helped get Clay Matthews and B.J. Raji in Green Bay, who were instrumental to Rodgers' Super Bowl in 2010. They were instrumental. So if they go in there with Love and have a 6-8 season, who's that going to spur them to bring in? Because they're going to have money because they don't have Rodgers' contract anymore. And if another team trades for him, they take on his big money. Green Bay saves all that money.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like I've always said, just because you have somebody in the draft that says that looks amazing, like all these Alabama players and stuff like that, and people are all high on them and everything. All these teams that have the higher draft picks, like Chicago and the Texans and all, they're all going to go in there and they're going to grab up all these fucking players. Look how many players have come in late rounds in the draft and have turned out to be better than first round picks ever thought about being.
Hey, my linebacker Rodrigo, 6th round. He's shown that. Even Houston, number 59 for the Lions, he was another 6th round pick as well. And I think he tied Hutchinson with the same amount of sacks. If not, he finished one behind. And he played most of the year on the practice squad.
But, and another thing too here, Chris, that you got to think about right now, as of, I think yesterday, I believe it was, there are 7 players that fell out of contracts with the Green Bay Packers. Now, and I'll name them here, and I'll tell you what I think can happen with these players. Okay, Adrian Amos is no longer under contract with the Green Bay Packers, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's okay. If they let him walk, they save his money because Rudy Ford is twice the player that he is, and he's cheaper. He's still on a rookie contract. Okay, Rudy Ford can take Adrian Amos's place. Randall Cobb, come on, I know Aaron Rodgers wants him back, but let's be honest. Randall Cobb was good in his prime. This year for Green Bay, when he played, he had a couple of splash plays. For the most part, they used him as a blocker.
Yeah, I didn't
or
even
check
know.
down.
You hardly even knew he was on the field.
Exactly. Mason Crosby, dude, he's old as fuck. He's older than dirt, but he's still good. He's a serviceable kicker.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be able to find somebody in the draft or find someone in your free agency that's going to replace him? That's kind of going to be a wash in a way because a kicker's a kicker. Let's be honest. Okay.
Yeah, they're either good.
They can either win the game, they can either lose the game, or you might not see them the entire game. So that I can deal with. Mercedes Lewis, that's the only one I don't agree with. He's out of contract with Green Bay. He's old as fuck, but he's the best blocking tight end in the National Football League, bar none.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you could get him back on a rookie deal, re-sign him, I think you'd be crazy not to. All right.
Yeah, if you can get him to come back for a team-friendly deal, for sure.
Right. Dean Lowry, come on, he was a relief backup when somebody got hurt. He can be replaced in the draft. Jaron Reed, he was the same thing. He can be replaced in the draft. Robert Tonyan, he's out of contract with him. Robert Tonyan was never the same after his ACL surgery, and I don't know that he's ever going to be the same. There's too many good tight ends coming out of the draft out there to replace Robert Tonyan. See, those are the seven that fell out. So you think about that. All of these people fell out of contract with Green Bay. Look how much money that is, dude.
That's true. See, here's the thing, though, too. You could probably get Tonyan on a team-friendly deal just because he hasn't really hit that bigger market. Even when he was healthy before the injury, he did a lot of good plays for you. but they were far in between. They weren't consistent every single game. You know what I'm saying? Like most tight ends. And that's why I feel like Tunyon could be still a great tight end. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers used them at desperate times in certain plays. Other than that, he like throwing to the wideouts. Because since the last tight end I seen do really good with the Packers and a consistently basis was Bubba Franks. That dude was a beast for you.
Right.
Um,
I like Geronimo Allison. I was pissed off when they got rid of Geronimo Allison. I like that guy. You know,
Yeah.
I thought he was a good receiver. You know,
I was mad when he came to Detroit and then he played through and then he backed out because of COVID. And then he didn't even make the team after that because his preseason he just I don't know. He just
nobody ever
showed
gave
up.
him a fair shot in anything. Just much like the same as what's that other guy's name that we used to have, Jeff Janis. He
Yeah.
never really got a fair shake, and I thought he was a hell of a receiver. You know,
I agree with that. The only thing with Abelson, the only thing I'm going to disagree with you on that is not. I think Detroit did give him a fair shot to be at the time one of our key receivers, slot receivers. But with the COVID thing, he backed out, and then didn't play, and then he came back in preseason, and he didn't do. He had a shitty preseason, man, and I was really bummed out when we released him. So I don't know. To me, but I feel like but that was the thing I said back then in the COVID season when people were opting out. I said, this is stupid. You're gonna opt out and then think you're just gonna walk back in the NFL and be like, oh, I got my job. Because now you're just giving somebody else to replace you. And then if they have a better year, like Ellison found out, he comes back, he don't have a good preseason, and the Lions have to make that decision. Well, all of our receivers from last year played and did a good job and had a better preseason. See you later. You know what I mean? You kind of ask for that when you put yourself in that position.
but Green Bay has 8 draft picks this year, so you know they have one pick in all round, and this is before any trades or any cuts or anything are made. Okay, they could obviously gain some more, you know, throughout the
Especially if they trade Rodgers.
stuff like that. But they have one pick for each round, and they have 3 7th-round picks. How many good players have come out of late round picks for the Green Bay Packers? Think about it. Even Devontae Adams was essentially a late round pick. Jordy Nelson was a late round pick. Jordy Nelson came from a Division II college team, you know, and look how he was. It's not like talent can't be found in them late round drafts, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And you know, you got roster bonuses for Green Bay that's got to be paid, and I'll go over a list of them, like Jar Alexander. You know, he's due $11.45 million in roster bonuses. David Bakhtiari is due $9.5 million in roster bonuses. Devondre Campbell is due $3 million. Kenny Clark and Rashawn Douglas is due $2 million. Preston Smith is due $7.5 million. That's $35.5 million in roster bonuses that the Packers have got to come up with. So does that mean it's going to force Aaron Rodgers out the door to save some money? I don't know, because there is so many different ways to move money around in the National Football League and the professional football team. You could sit here and try to guess at it from now until the season starts, and you'd never figure it out.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Dave got some comments for us. He said he don't think free agency is going to be big for the Packers this year. He thinks they're all going to do their work in the draft, which I kind of agree with that. Smart way, unless you get some good deals, and you know what I mean. But if you're losing Rodgers, you might as well just start the rebuild. You know what I'm saying? At that point, you start it now. You get it. And then say, hey, Jordan Love has a good first year. You know, next year you could be fighting for the playoffs. He also said Jordy Nelson played at Division I, Kansas State.
Okay, well, there's Division I. I knew it was a division, but I wasn't sure. And as far as Devontae Adams, I knew he wasn't a first round pick. That's what I meant by that.
See, I thought he was a first round pick.
No, I know he wasn't a first round pick.
Would you be?
Because number one, if you think about it, think back in time, the only first round pick that the Green Bay Packers ever made for Aaron Rodgers, as far as any type of receiver, was guess who? Mercedes Lewis.
Yep. So I was just thinking about that. I mean, Dave's probably gonna give me some crap, but for shits and giggles, I'm just bringing this up as a joke purposely. But you see, what kind of sucks for Green Bay is the year that they might actually be trading Aaron Rodgers. And if one team had the first round, and if certain teams actually had the first pick overall for this year's draft, they would give that up in a heartbeat. But unfortunately for the Packers, the Bears have the first round pick.
Yeah, Rodgers.
Green Bay will never trade him.
Rodgers was never going to the Bears.
Oh, for sure. But now let's be honest, though. The Bears would be.
Look, I'll tell you this, Chris, and this is just to be honest. Even if Green Bay was to trade Aaron Rodgers, if they was to come in and say we're trading you to the Bears, Aaron would immediately say, "I'm retired. That's it. I'm done."
You think so?
Oh yeah, he's not going to play for the Bears.
You don't think he would just pull a fire and go play with Minnesota and come back and whoop Green Bay's ass?
No.
And get a satisfaction?
No, I don't think it's going to be anything about that because look, every time a player leaves a team and goes to another team with the expectations of coming back and whooping that team's ass and getting clout or bragging rights or whatever like that, the first thing I'm going to bring up Zadarius Smith. What the fuck happens to that, Zadarius? What the fuck happened? In the game you played, Green Bay, you got nothing. You got blanked across the board. Shut up. Shut up.
Exactly.
Oh my God, is this the Pipe Dream podcast? Let's be honest. Be a little more specific. I'm not real sure what you're talking about, but okay.
For some reason, it just logged me out of my account, so I can't see the chat right now. I hate when you log into something and it gives you, you're not a robot, pick these pictures. But anyways, do you think, who do you think, if you could, off the top of your head, what would you want the Packers to do with your first round pick?
Well, I haven't really paid that much attention to the people that are in the draft. I'm not a big college football person, so I don't really know the good players that are out there. And even if he was to say names to me, I wouldn't know who the hell you're talking about. I'm not into college football at all. So that's really a topic I can't really speak on, because if I do, I'm going to sound foolish because I really don't know.
Yeah. What positions? What do you think is the number one position?
Well, obviously we're gonna need another receiver if Alan Lazard's leaving. I mean, you're gonna have to replace him, regardless of what you do. I honestly think defensive line we're pretty good. I mean, Rashawn Gary is coming back. It remains to be seen how he's going to return off of the ACL. We'll see how he does. Hopefully, he doesn't take on the same stance as what Robert Tonyan did. I don't think Robert Tonyan ever really recovered from his surgery. I don't know if he ever will. But I mean, different position. I get it, but we'll see how it goes. I like Rashawn Gary. First round pick a couple of years ago, and a lot of people hated on him, said he wasn't going to do anything, and he essentially came up and slapped every one of them in the fucking mouth, and I think it's funny.
David's giving me shit in the chat. I just got in the chat. He said, "Oh my God, this is a pipe dream podcast. Let's be realistic." David, I was be realistic. If you listen, I said, unfortunately, the year the Packers were drafting or trading Aaron Rodgers, possibly, is the one year they couldn't get the first round overall pick for this year because that belongs to the Bears. That's what I was meaning. I know the Packers ain't never going to trade the Bears, Aaron Rodgers to the Bears. I'm just saying, if you think, for instance, say if Vegas had the first #1 overall pick. So if he wants to go to, if he wants to go to Vegas, you guys get the first pick overall in the 2003 draft. That would be a win for the Packers. But they can't because the Bears got it. Because I was waiting for the Texans. I was actually waiting for the Texans to get the first round pick until they screwed themselves. Or not really screwed themselves. Lovie Smith purposely screwed them, which is pretty funny.
Let's be honest, Chris. Let's call a mud puddle a mud puddle. If the Green Bay Packers had the #1 overall pick, stupid motherfuckers would probably trade it away. I mean, let's call a mud puddle a mud puddle here.
So bringing that up as a Packer fan, how confident are you going into this transition without Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I mean, I don't have super high expectations, but I also don't have super low expectations. I'm ready to see what Jordan Love can do. Will we miss Aaron Rodgers? Sure. I think anytime you have a 4-time winning and Super Bowl winning quarterback that either retires or goes somewhere, of course you're going to miss him.
Yeah.
The man has owned that division for how many years? He's beat every team in that division for how many damn different times? I mean, you can never discount what he's done in Green Bay and what, the amount of time he's been there. Hell, Aaron Rodgers is the longest tenured person or longest tenured sports player in all of sports, not just football, in all of sports with one organization. He has that record. And I mean, I'm talking all sports, NASCAR,
How long has
baseball,
he been with the
basketball.
Packers?
If he comes back this year, it'll be his 19th year.
Well, I hate to break it to you, he don't hold the all record. Steve
He holds all
Eisman.
records.
No, I don't. Steve Eisman was with the Red Wings from rookie year all the way till he retired. And Steve Eisman, he was with the Red Wings for 22, 23 years.
I don't even know. I don't even know who that is. But anyway.
It's hockey. That's all I'll say is hockey. He don't own that record because Eisman alone was with the Red Wings for 23 years.
Okay, well, I stand corrected then. I mean, I would have to look it up, but I stand corrected.
Oh no, I believe in NFL wise, for sure.
Well, the article that I read said all the sports, so I don't know. But anyway,
we call it because I was gonna say Brady could argue that, but I keep forgetting Brady went to the Bucks.
Yeah, it has to be with one organization, and I think that's the way they were writing the article that I read.
See, that's why me personally, I don't. If you ask me if Aaron Rodgers is going to retire right now, I say no. And the only why I say no is because I feel like when he retires, he's going to want all the attention. He's going to want the big send off and all that.
And he deserves it.
No, I'm not saying he don't deserve it. I'm just saying if he does it this year, he kisses that goodbye. Because now he got to share it with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't see Rodgers really retiring in the same year Brady did. I see him trying to at least play one more year.
I look, I don't think that has much of anything to do with it because let's be honest, Brady retired, done it from his cell phone camera on the beach, and I've not heard a damn thing about it since. So there's really no limelight there or anything. So I don't think that's going to have anything to do with his decision. His decision is going to be whether his heart is still in the game or if it's not. And if it's not, then he needs to go.
Did you hear his comments on Pat McGuffrey's broadcast about Adam Schaefer
Yeah.
mad at him about the saying he went to the retreat when he didn't go to the retreat?
No, he was mad at him because they're sitting there trying to say what he's going to do and what the front office is going to do and what his decision is going to be. And I don't blame him for coming out after him because, to be honest with you, I get tired of seeing all that dumb shit. You know, all these sports casters and shit that come out and act like they know what everybody's doing, what everybody's thinking, this, that, and the other. You know, Aaron Rodgers sees all that shit. And you know, you get old. It gets old listening to that shit because if you're not ready to come out and make your feelings known, why the hell do you? I mean, you're just fishing for a story. Why in the hell are you going to go out there and fish for a story and try to, you know, make people look at you in a different kind of way? So for him to say they don't know shit about him, I think it's funny. I laughed my ass off when I seen it. I thought it was hilarious. I don't like either one of them two reporters either. I think they're fucking dumbasses.
See, I mean, Adam Schaefer, he's pretty much right on most 90% of the time. He's pretty good. Oh,
I've seen him say some dumb shit before.
Oh, for sure. I mean, who hasn't said dumb shit? You know what I mean? I think everybody talks dumb shit at some point in your life. And you know what I mean? Being that type of article, see, here's my thing. When I read that article, I didn't think Adam Schaefer said anything that wasn't true. I really do believe the front office is getting fed up. I think he's 100% right.
I think the front office is getting sick of him holding the team hostage and not letting his feelings known and making them wait till the last minute. Sure, I'll be on that same bandwagon with them. I'd be getting pissed off about that too. But as far as them saying they know what the front office is going to do and they know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, it's all bullshit because they don't know.
No, in that aspect, it's just a prediction. At the end of the day, it's not truth. And I can see being mad at that, but I felt like he was more mad that he told them that Rodgers is away on his retreat, and then here he is on this broadcast, clearly not at the retreat. That's how I took it. I took it he was more mad that he told everybody he went to his darkness retreat. But if you watched the last time he's on Pat McCaffrey, he said he was going on a 4-day retreat. When he gets back, he should have his decision. So this whole time, you're MIA off the show. Everybody's thinking you went and did the retreat. Like, when are you doing this retreat? Like, I thought and he also said he wasn't holding the team captive. He's doing this retreat real fast, going to have a quick answer. And then here he is a week later bitching because he didn't go on his retreat yet. And it's like, wait a minute.
Well, let me put it to you in a way that maybe me and you both can understand it, Chris. If you were Aaron Rodgers, or if I was Aaron Rodgers, and I was making millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, okay? And my season's over and I go home and I'm sitting in my house on my couch watching the Super Bowl. And I don't want to be seen or talked about or on camera or anything else. Are you going to walk away from that? Are you going to walk away from that kind of money? Are you going to sit there and let everybody talk shit about you and run their mouth about you and not say anything?
I mean, I'm not saying he was wrong for saying anything. I'm just saying is, how can you get mad when you tell somebody, you tell the world, he told the world he's going on this trip. He's not holding the team hostage, saying he's going to do this trip. And when he gets back, he'll let his decision know. And my thing is, this whole time, now everybody's thinking he's away on his trip already, because that's what he made it sound like. After that show, he was going away on his trip. So that's why I think the article came out, is because I believed I thought he was already in his 4 days of darkness. I thought he was doing his 4 days of darkness trip over the Super Bowl, so he didn't have to deal with the Super Bowl. You see what I'm saying? So I thought he was gone. And then it turns out he hasn't even done his trip yet. And now he's mad about it.
Well, the way it's kind of funny though, because the way I think and the way I see is, if I'm in Aaron Rodgers' position and I'm as rich as Aaron Rodgers is, and my season's over, and I don't want to go sit in the dark for 4 days yet, I don't give a fuck what you think. I ain't gonna do it till I get ready to do it. You know?
No, I totally agree with that. That's just what I'm like, boy. And I'm not saying, he has to do it right now. I don't care when he does it. What I'm just saying is people being a quarterback in the NFL, being the caliber quarterback he is and the star he is, everybody takes his words serious. So when he says that after this, I'm going on a 4-day trip, everybody thinks the next day he's getting on a plane and leaving. You know what I'm saying? Is if he wasn't doing it for a couple of weeks, you might as well say, here soon, I'm going to go do a trip. Now no one can make assumptions in an article because you said sometime soon. No one knows where you're at.
Well, think about this. You go through an NFL season, you constantly have reporters in your face, cameras in your face, blah, 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 doing interviews here, doing interviews, people requesting interviews, people wanting you to do endorsement deals, this, that. You got shit flying at you from all different directions. Once the season's over, you don't have that anymore. You have time to yourself. You have time to reflect. You have time to sit in your house without your phone ringing off the wall and do what you want, essentially. So I would probably do the same thing. I would be like, I'm going to go when I get ready to go. I have X amount of time off to do this before I got to go to either training camp or OTAs or, scout out different teams I want to go to, or plan my retirement, or whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to do it on my time. And I don't need to let the world know. I don't, because it's none of their business.
Yeah. Totally. And I mean, I understand that as an aspect as a player, you're always having to deal with the media 24/7. But at the same time, at the end of the day, that's what you sign up for. You know what I mean? It comes with the job. It's until you retire and you're out of that complete life, you're going to deal with the cameras, you're going to deal with the media. I mean, unless you want to be Marshawn Lynch and get fined for not talking over all these years. I mean, I was just reading an article earlier. Fun fact, he's got fined over, they said over $1 million something, over $1 million, Marshawn Lynch, for not talking to the media. I mean, it's kind of crazy that you can get fined for not talking to the media.
Well, I don't know so much if it was the fact that he got fined for not talking to the media, but maybe being as big of a smart ass as he was with the media. I think that's probably what drug on the fines.
No, that's what started it. That's what started it, because before, it was the week before, and he skipped the post-game conference because he didn't want to talk. So he just left the stadium. And then he got fined for it. So the next week after the post game, he came in.
Look, if that's the case, then Stephon Diggs needs to be fined a whole fucking game check. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. And then it was the next week, Marshawn Lynch came in, and then the post game conference, he stood at the podium and was like, "I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm not answering your questions. I'm just here so I don't get fined." That's what he kept telling the media, and then he got fined for saying that as well. Which is pretty funny. It's crazy.
Right. Well, that Bob McGinn, I guess his name. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Bob McGinn, the one that's talking all this shit about the front office being pissed off at Aaron Rodgers, and they're done with him. They're moving on. They're going with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I know he's a Green Bay writer, and I know he's covered the Green Bay Packers for a long time. But to put something like that out on social media and just media in general, you're a tool, dude. Shut up.
I think he's a tool, but I hate to say this, is if they're an inside writer, they're they're 90% of the time usually tell the truth. Because, and this is just how I figured it out, because they were all going out about how Matthew Stafford asked for a trade. Because when we went through this, I didn't believe, I was like you, I was like, you're just speculating what Matthew Stafford's going to do. And I did that, and then like a week, 2 weeks go by, and then bam, there it is. ESPN, Stafford's getting traded to the Rams. And I'm like, oh, this is legit.
But how many years have we heard different people and different sports beat writers and sports writers and inside source writers talk about what's going to happen with Rodgers, and the shit never happens? How many years? I mean, I can sit here and think of at least 4 myself just right now.
Well, yeah, but see, here's the difference though. Other than this year, if you go 3 years back to all this, that was Rodgers releasing that. Rodgers made it known that he wanted out. Green Bay came out for those 3 years and said, all 3 years we're not trading Aaron Rodgers. To get him to come back last year to play, they reworked his deal so he got the big check last offseason. And then in the deal in the contract they worked out, they agreed to Aaron Rodgers to his face in the contract that they would trade him if he wanted to leave this year to a team of his choice.
Right, if he wanted to leave.
So that's what I'm saying. This could have probably played out 3 years ago, let's be honest. But Green Bay, there was no way Green Bay was going to let Aaron Rodgers leave 3 years ago when you guys were really good at that point. Let's not lie. If you go back 3 years ago, who was the dominant team in the North? It wasn't Minnesota. It was Green Bay still.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Green Bay. Definitely got milked as far as they could get out of Rodgers. You know, I think they know it's the end of the road at this point. So I mean, I get both sides. Like, and then how is Rodgers puts himself in this position by holding the team hostage. If he's getting so mad at reporters for reporting this shit, fucking tell somebody something already, damn it. Because now you got fans, you got every network calling daily, trying to get every scoop on Aaron Rodgers, and the front office don't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? So he kind of sets himself up for this. Because let's be honest, TV works on views.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is set to make $59.465 million if he comes back in 2023. And it's part of a 3-year, $150 million contract. Okay. I don't know how they figure these numbers, but the article that I read just the other day said it carries a cap charge of $623,570 for next season. That's the 2023 season. So I don't, unless there's signing bonuses in there or some kind of incentives or something like that, the $59 million that he's due this year, it's only carrying a cap hit of 31. So I don't know exactly how they figure all that shit out. But that's not that bad for a quarterback the caliber of Aaron Rodgers. That is not that bad. Everybody's hung on the fact that for 3 years Aaron Rodgers is on a $150 million contract. So the time you split that up 3 ways and do all your roster bonuses and all that shit like that, that's really not that much, especially for an NFL team.
Well, see, too, is a lot of people don't look in the fact, like I just said last year, is when they reworked. That's why they reworked the deal. The deal they did is because Roger knew at that point that this year was a good chance it could be the last year in Green Bay, and he could either retire or go wherever he wants. He got his money paid up. He got a big signing bonus when he restricted his contract, which he made most of his money owed. That's why if you guys do trade him this year, the dead cap won't be as bad on your behalf. But if I'm almost positive, if he didn't do that, like last year, you guys traded him, I think the hit would have been almost 50 mil on dead cap money. So
I believe that. Like I said, I don't know how they really do all the mathematical things, and that comes right back to what I was telling you is the fact that there's so many different ways to move money around, and so many different ways that you cut money, gain money, lose money, make other teams take on part of the money or all of the money. It's just there's 15 different ways that money can move around in the NFL. And if for me or you or even any kind of sports commentary or anything like that, for them to try to keep up with that money, it's impossible. It can't be done.
I mean, it can be done. It's just you had that much willpower, in a day to, to keep up on that. That's a tough task to do. I mean, I just think people, and I will even say it, a lot of Lions fans, a lot of Bear fans, you know what I mean? Minnesota fans too. We've all had to deal with Aaron Rodgers dominating our franchise for most of his career. So there is a majority of people who, don't look at the aspect. They look at Rodgers is going to screw the Packers over, and we get to watch the Packers maybe for the first time in our lives suck total ass. There is a possibility of that.
I can't say that because I seen the Packers during the Don Majkowski years, and they were not good. They were not a good team.
I mean, I'm not talking about, you know what I mean, like through the whole franchise, because I think every franchise has had their shit years. I'm talking about in the last 19 years. When has other than the year Rodgers broke his collarbones? Other than those years, because I mean, you could count those years, but were you guys really that bad, or were you just that bad because Rodgers was out for the whole season? You know what I'm saying?
I'd have to go back and look at all the years and everything. I don't know if we had any bad years per se with Favre. I'm sure we did. I don't think the whole time he was there we had a winning season.
I know since I've been old enough to pay attention to football, I've never seen the Packers have a first round overall pick. I can say that.
No, I don't even think during the Don Majkowski years they had. I don't think
you know what I'm saying? I've never seen the Packers unless I know they've had trades over the years, and then the team sucked the following year, so they got a high draft pick. But I've never seen them suck hard enough to actually get a first round draft pick.
No, yeah,
Green Bay. The number one pick. And that's where I judge. I judge that a lot.
They've made some horrible trades over the years that they thought was just going to be the bee's knees of all, and ended up being something that just come up and slap them in the fucking face, like Martellus Bennett. That was the worst allocation that the Packers ever made. The worst. I mean, he was I dare to say it, but I'm trying to think of another trade that was as bad as Mercedes Lewis, or not Mercedes Lewis, the guy I just said.
I totally just forgot what you just said.
Martellus Bennett.
Yeah.
Shit. I can't think of one right now because I'd have to go too far back, but that was pretty freaking bad. I mean, that dude was a complete chump.
Yeah. Now here's a question. Would you be shocked? Or would you be shocked and happy if Aaron Rodgers just comes out and says, you know what? It's go Pack go. I ain't going nowhere.
What do you mean? Retired?
Like if he just says he's staying, he's playing.
He's staying, he's playing. Well, at the end of the day, I'm a Packers fan, and I'm going to go with whatever the Packers decide or whatever Aaron Rodgers decides. If Aaron Rodgers is there, it's go Pack go and go Rodgers.
Now, do you think?
If he's not, it's go Pack go and go Love. That's the way I look at it.
Now, do you truly think he still even has an option at this point? So you really don't think the front office has already made their choice and what they're going to do?
I'm not going to say I'm not going to say I know that they've made their choice already because
No, I didn't mean like that. Like, do you think that what I'm asking is, do you think they might have made that choice to get rid of him, regardless if he wants to stay or not? Do you think it's possible?
Look, I would say that if Aaron Rodgers does not come out and give them an answer in a timely manner, and I think that the clock is ticking on him, I will say that they're going to make a choice. If they're that confident in Jordan Love and Rodgers keeps holding a proverbial knife to their throat, I've always known the Green Bay Packers front office to be a front office that you're not going to tell them what you're going to do. You may suggest what you're going to do. But I think when you start making the demands and essentially holding a knife to their throat, they'll tell you to get fucked.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I was saving that because I like I said, we've known each other for 4 years. We've done plenty of live shows before in the past. So I kind of figured you were going to say something along those lines. And that's why, if you want my opinion, I think the only team that could handle Aaron Rodgers is probably Vegas. Because, and only why I say this is because Rodgers wants to say in a lot of things. He makes it very clear he wants to be in every discussion. And I feel like the Raiders are regretting their move to Vegas because Davis has already said in an article that he's pretty pissed off that it seems like more away fans show up to the stadium than actually Raider fans. So I believe you get Rodgers there. I believe Rodgers could get what he wants to be in those conversations, because if you get Rodgers in Vegas, then you're going to drive Raider Nation. They're going to get in their cars and drive the 3 hours to Vegas on Sunday to watch the games at that point. So I think it's a win for both sides. So of course Rodgers will get a little special treatment from the ownership. That's just how I feel.
I will say this: if it comes down to the fact that the Green Bay Packers are going to trade Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be a big if at this point because nobody really knows. I think that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be a better choice for Aaron Rodgers, should I say, because of the fact that Devontae Adams is there. I don't know what kind of draft capital they've got. They're going to want more than a first round pick for Aaron Rodgers. And for all these people that are on the comments and everything are on different posts that I've seen saying that, you might get a second round pick and a fourth round pick for Aaron Rodgers, that's absolute nonsense. They're not going to take that low of a pick for Aaron Rodgers. They're not. They're just simply not.
And that's why. And that's still why I still believe. Well, I mean, it's going to come down to Derek Carr. Let's just say that, because free agency.
I was fixing to bring that up. I was fixing to say that if they trade him to the Raiders, they're going to want a first round pick and a player at least, and maybe another lower round pick. But there's going to be a player involved in it, I believe. And I honestly think that Green Bay, being that Robert Tonyan fell out of contract with them, I really think that Green Bay would try to put their sticks in on Darren Waller. And I think if the Raiders will give a number one pick and a late round pick in Darren Waller, I think you can see Green Bay play. I think you can see Rodgers playing in Green Bay because I really think the Jets are going to sign Derek Carr. That's what I think they're going to do.
See, I think, and David made a good point, and I do agree with David. I think Derek Carr could just be doing that because I really think he's going to go to the Saints. He already met with the Saints first, and I think this might just be a move to get more money from the Saints. But I also do feel like the Jets they're gonna check out all options. But for the owner already came out and said he'll give 2 first-round picks.
Okay,
And
see, I'm gonna give you my scenario, and I may be wrong, and this is just totally a speculated guess. Okay. I think Derek Carr, if all these trades come place, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Las Vegas and they go with Jordan Love, I think Derek Carr goes to the New York Jets. And I believe, because the next player I'm going to bring up, they're $100 million of difference in trade in contract talks. And I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. I can see Lamar Jackson going to the New Orleans Saints.
well, I didn't hear no news that Baltimore put the franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, so that's a possibility.
But he doesn't have to play on it, though. He can sit out.
Yeah, but we all see what happens if you sit out. Look
You
at
get
Bell.
traded. You get traded. You know?
Or you end up like Bell and don't get traded.
Well, look what Devontae Adams was doing. Devontae Adams was going to set out on his franchise tag, and Green Bay said, "Look, we were just trying to buy time to find you a contract to keep you here. But if you're going to throw a fit, bye."
Oh, for
2
sure.
first-round picks.
Well,
You know,
I'm not saying it's going to work out that in every aspect. I'm just saying that, sometimes it just don't go that way. Most of the time, over the history, you've seen that happen. Players get traded. But now teams are a little bit more stingy, like you've seen. Bell thought that's all he had to do to get traded. And he got his career ruined. Because by the time he came back, there was nothing left in the tank.
there's a lot of players in the league that price themselves out of teams. And for instance, I'm going to just throw this player out there. Alan Lazard is pricing himself right out of Green Bay.
You think so?
Because he is asking for too much money. He's a good receiver, but he's not worth the money he wants. Give him, another year, a couple of years or whatever, and that's somebody throwing to him all the time as the number 1 receiver. Look, everybody said that Alan Lazard was the number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay this last year. Green Bay didn't have a number 1 wide receiver. They just didn't. They didn't have one.
The only one they had.
He was supposed to step into that role, but he didn't. He had the chance to take the bull by the horns, and he let it run by him.
Yeah.
And had he taken the bull by the horns and become the number 1 wide receiver, they might have gave him that money. But he didn't. He let the bull go. So now you're in a situation where you're demanding all this money that you're not going to get from this team. And I don't know any other team that's going to do it. There might be one out there dumb enough to do it, but I mean, I'm sure somebody will pick him up, but I don't think he's going to make the kind of money he's looking for.
Yeah, it's crazy because it seems like who did I see? I think it was CBS. They had an article like estimating everybody's contract's worth to keep that player on that team. And they were already hiking up Jamal Williams for the Lions. And granted, after the year he just put up, no one expects him to make less than $4 million a year. So of course he's going to want the money, but it's like they're saying this is what you got to get, and Jamal Charles is walking around and every interview, every social media post still to this day, like he was just on ESPN talking about how the Lions are going to run it back. They're going to win the North. He's not even technically on the team right now. That's how certain I'm sure he's going to come back. He already said he's willing to take less money to come back. So that's just what I feel like today. Like you get the media's in on this shit, estimating on what teams are going to spend for this guy. And it's just like, it's just another tool for these players that they're smart enough to look at the analysts and say this and be like, wow, I was only thinking 3.5 mil for 6 years. You know, I can really get 5 mil. So I'm gonna go ask for 6. You know what I'm saying? Not saying they don't do that. Obviously, their agents are gonna tell them to do that. Tell them
Well, I
what
was
they're
gonna say
worth,
that's
you
I
know,
was gonna say
but
that's all on their agents and shit. And their
it
agents are gonna
is
try to give them as
just,
much money as possible.
it is crazy because like if you go back to like you go back before Rodgers was a starting quarterback, and NFL contracts were kind of pretty standard at that in that era. You know, people made money, and there was big time payers, but nothing like it is now. And I think as sometimes fans, shit happens so fast, you don't really realize how much the game's really truly changed in 20 years, and in all aspects. I'm
Well,
not
when
just
you
talking
got
about playing. I'm talking about front to top of the whole league, business
when you
wise.
when you got people like Deshaun Watson coming in there and demanding $500 million, and then you got Patrick Mahomes coming there and making, demanding $500 million. Oh, I want to make as much as this guy. It don't matter if I only win 2 games a year and he wins 15 games a year. I still want to make as much as him because I'm an NFL quarterback. That's how they feel. They're
Dude,
they're they're like kids.
it's crazy. Like if you go to Deshaun Watson, I don't know who the fuck in the Cleveland Browns right mind was smoking crack that day. Because when you offer that kind of money to that guy, you were smoking a lot of crack. Only why I'm bringing this up because I mean, it's a broadcast to talk about. I don't know if the guy's guilty of what he did or what he's accused of. To me, it does sound a little fishy. But then to me, it's like, dude, come on now, man. There has to be some reason all these girls are here. So they didn't even know the outcome of the suspension yet, and they gave him that money. That's how stupid it was.
I mean, come on, it's the Browns that they've not had a decent quarter. I mean, let's be honest. Bernie Kosar was the best quarterback they've had in that franchise history, quite honestly. You know, Baker Mayfield wasn't shit.
I think Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. It can be a good quarterback with the right coach.
Yeah, in a different system, not in that system.
But I don't look at Deshaun Watson. Did you see him? Did you watch any games? I didn't
A
watch a
few.
full game, but I flicked them on just to see how. And there was not one game, and I was like, huh, Deshaun still got it. You know, I was like, huh, how much million do you pay for this guy?
Right.
Like, and now you're stuck with him for how long? Like, he did not look good. I know and here's the thing, he sat out for almost this whole year and all last year. So I don't know. I feel bad for Browns fans because you better hope you make the playoffs next year. Because
Yeah,
if you
but
don't
they're
make the
gonna be
playoffs,
strapped for cash. I mean, I know that they've had terrible seasons and they've got a lot of money because of having terrible seasons, and they've got high draft picks and they've had many first round picks that have not turned out to be shit. But so that right there just tells you having a first round draft pick or a number one overall draft pick, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the crumb of the crumb team. And
yeah, I mean,
The Chicago Bears are fixing to find that
this
out too.
shit is getting so crazy. I just seen an article today that Daniel Jones is
Franchise tag.
not franchise tag, but they're saying he wants like 45 million a year.
Yeah.
45 million a year. Like, dude,
For what?
you were
For
not
what?
supposed to be the quarterback for the Giants this year.
For what? What have you done, Daniel Jones? What have you done?
I mean, granted, I will stick up for Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't think he's a great quarterback. I'm not going to sit there and say, but I'm not going to sit there and say he can't win the championship. I'm not going to sit there and say he cannot be a good quarterback because he proved it this year. They were supposed to they were trying to get rid of him last year and the beginning of this year. No one wanted him. He took a rebuilding Giants team this year to the playoffs. And in some games they look pretty good. I mean, you can't take it away from him, but do I see him worth $45 million? No.
You want me to tell you want me to tell you a secret, Chris? You want me to tell you why Daniel Jones is wanting $45 million a year?
because he went to the playoffs.
Because they're fixing to let Saquon Barkley walk in free agency, and he knows that money's there. So if that money's there, why not try to grab it?
That is true, but do you really think you're going to win if you take all the money? That's, I don't know. I mean,
Look,
I guess
here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, Chris. These players, even though they preach a big game that they want to win, this, that, and the other, and some of them may, especially new ones that are coming into the league, they may want to win. But once you're there for a while and you get that big puffed out wallet you get all them fancy sports cars and them fancy houses, and you're having all these lavish parties and everything, they don't give a fuck about winning anymore. It's all about the money after that.
see, to me, that's where I think players are stupid, ignorant, and dumb. Because this is how I look at it. Don't get me wrong. If I'm in the NFL, I want to make sure I get paid what I'm worth. But would I necessarily take the big contract and all my team's money? No. Because if I'm winning Super Bowls, if I'm a star player in the Super Bowl, I'm going to get more, I'm going to make just as much money off the fucking field. Because people are going to want commercials. People are going to want me sponsorships. People are going to want me to promote their product. Because I'm a Super Bowl champion on their city.
Did you know that most NFL players, whether you're a Super Bowl champion or not, if you play in the NFL, most of these players make more money off of endorsement deals than they do from the NFL in total?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, and you're not just talking about quarterbacks and receivers and shit. The defensive linemen and shit. These motherfuckers are making endorsement deals. You may not ever see them on TV, on commercials, everything, but they're endorsing products. I mean, look at fucking Brett Favre, for God's sake. He was endorsing Wrangler jeans
for over 10 years.
I mean, they make more money off that shit than they do from the NFL. But
sure.
you tell me. And I'll just put $150 million out there that Aaron Rodgers is supposed to make in his new contract. That's not counting all the money he's made up to that point.
Exactly.
Do you think? I mean, myself personally, if I had 100 or 200 or 300 million dollars, I'm 53 years old, dude. I couldn't spend that much money before I was dead.
I mean, look at Brady. I mean, even though Brady lost a lot of money in that, whatever you call it, the crypto and shit like that, he's still got a net worth, like, I want to say this year, like 500 million or something from all the years of playing, from all the years of playing and all of his endorsement deals over the years.
Yeah. Well, I know they said he lost $650 million in that crypto scandal.
Oh, for sure.
They were funneling money back to the Democrats, so they pay
don't
off
quote me.
the
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive. I seen an article saying he had worth that it was about the divorce, and they basically said that he lost a lot when they got divorced because his wife had a lot of money. But in the same sense, he don't need none of your money because he's played so long in the league and all of his endorsements over all these years. He got all that.
Right.
Well,
that's just like I mean, let's just say, for instance, if Aaron Rodgers would retire this year, he's still got money coming in from fucking State Farm.
Yeah,
he'll have enough money coming in from State Farm to live the rest of his life without ever getting another dollar from Green Bay.
I mean, I haven't really seen no new commercials with him though with State Farm this year. They've tapered off. It just seems like it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Well, I've seen some of the Green Bay ones still when they were still in the locker room, not necessarily with Patrick Mahomes anymore, but there's still some in there with that.
Oh yeah, I still see those commercials.
Whatever his name is.
But that's the latest new commercials, and usually they come out with like 2 or 3 of those a year.
Oh yeah.
With Rodgers and then Mahomes. But I gotta admit, it is pretty funny with the Mahomes and Andy Reid one when he got the mustache on and he's trying to look like him with the Sharpie marker.
Yeah.
I thought it
So,
was before.
I want to bring this one last point up that I had, and it's a person you didn't ask me about on Green Bay this year. I think the next, other than Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be deciding what the fuck he wants to do whenever he wants to do it. But there's one player right now that Green Bay has that they absolutely have to get signed. They have to. They have no fucking choice. Keyshawn Nixon has to be signed. Has to be. He is a multi-talented player. He can play receiver. He can play cornerback and special teams. That man has to be signed. I don't give a fuck if you have to give him $10 million. Get him signed.
I think that's going to be tough because I think that's what shocked me about Aaron Jones. I didn't surprise me he stayed, mind you. But what surprised me is he took a reduction of pay. He signed an extension to stay so early. I didn't expect it this early. I expected to wait. So now I'm curious on like you said, Knicks and other players that Green Bay might want to keep. Are they going to sign if Rodgers keeps dragging this shit out? Or are they trying to right now wait as long as they can before they make a decision on the future? And that's why I'm not trying to bring him back in this conversation, but that's why it's almost so shitty that he keeps doing this, because in all, it's fucking with multiple people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys do want to win a Super Bowl. Some of these guys really still want to win. And now they got to make a decision. Well, my quarterback's still not made his decision. Do I just sit here and stay and then he leaves and I get fucked? Or do I leave?
Well, I will say this. Green Bay is, with the exception of Aaron Rodgers, and you can't even really say Aaron Jones at this point. Green Bay is pretty much, being that if Mercedes Lewis is gone, and if Randall Cobb is gone, other than David Bakhtiari, I think David Bakhtiari is probably the oldest person left on the team that's not Aaron Rodgers. So Green Bay's pretty much a young fucking team at this point. All the receivers are young. Keyshawn Nixon is young. Aaron Jones is still young. A.J. Dillon is young.
If you get decent QB play, you could still be a team. You could still be a team fighting for a wild card. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say the Packers are going to finish in the basement. I don't think you win the North.
I'm still going to stick with 6 and 8 for the first year. I mean, I don't really see them doing much better than that. I could be wrong. They could come out there and completely prove me wrong. They could come out there and completely prove all of us wrong.
Well, if you still break it down, 6 and 8, it's still at some point you still be fighting for a wild card. You might not get it, but you might have a chance at one at a particular part of the season. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, with the 17-week season, I mean, if they do what they were talking about doing last year and bringing another wild card spot in there, maybe. But if they do it the way they done this year, I just don't see 6 and 8 doing it. Not in the NFC anyway.
I mean, to me, they have the best part. They have a better chance in the NFC right now to get in with a shitty record than I would say AFC.
Well, I don't know, because in obviously the draft, I mean, not the draft, the schedule hasn't been set as when they're going to play right now, but I can tell you right now, Green Bay's not going to have a cakewalk of a schedule next season. And if it's Jordan Love, he's going to have to fill some big shoes and beat some big people. You know, I mean, away, the Packers have got the Falcons, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Giants, and the Steelers. And at home, they've got KC, they've got the Chargers, the Rams, the Saints, and the Bucks. So let's go through those. The Falcons are a shambles. Let's be honest. Okay, well, so they could probably win that game. The Panthers,
I think the Panthers are actually worse than the Falcons, because if you want to be technical, the Falcons almost snuck and won their division. I mean, their division was crappy, but they had a chance there at the end. And I mean, it all depends on the quarterback with them, though. It all depends on who's playing QB for the Falcons.
Then you got the Broncos. Russell Wilson's done. So the Broncos ain't shit. Though they would win that game.
You're ready to write them off, even that Sean Payton's there now?
Yeah. Broncos are done, dude. The Raiders. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Raiders, and you got Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers are coming to town, or coming to town to play him, and it's Jordan Love, I think I'm probably going to take a Love loss there. I mean, let's just be honest.
That would be some fucking shit right there. The return of Adams with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I didn't even know you guys had him on the book.
Oh yeah. And then you got the Giants. I mean, let's be honest. If they ain't got Saquon Barkley, he walks in free agency, they can probably win that game. The Steelers, they got Kenny Pickett. Big Ben's gone. The Steelers are in shambles right now. They lost their offensive coordinator. I mean, I think we could win that one. KC is probably going to be a loss. The Chargers, that's in California. You've never been a good team on the West Coast. The Rams, you're going to have Stafford's going to be back, so that's a toss up. The Saints, Bucks are a shamble. They should be easy to beat.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And if you got Arizona on the schedule, that should be an easy win too, because them guys are fucked.
I don't see Arizona.
I just know Arizona. I think Arizona's gonna be the worst team in the league this year. Rumors have it Hopkins wants out. Hopkins could be traded during the draft or before the trade deadline. That's a huge move.
I would love to see Hopkins come to Green Bay, man. That would be fucking awesome, especially if Aaron Rodgers.
That would save you even with Jordan Love. I'm just saying. You give Jordan Love somebody to play pitch and catch with. I mean,
Jordan Love's got an arm. He does.
He can swing the ball.
He can definitely swing the fish in. Can he be as accurate as Aaron Rodgers? That's what I don't know. I think he's definitely more mobile than Aaron Rodgers. He's faster than Aaron Rodgers.
See, he's been in the league for a couple years now, 3 years. He's had plenty of opportunity to learn. My question is, why I'm getting to see him, is I want to see how much has he really learned from Aaron Rodgers. Because even though Favre was pissed off at the Packers when he left and how he left with Aaron Rodgers, Favre didn't get pissed off until the Packers told him he had no choice but to leave. That's when Favre got pissed off, because Favre didn't want to leave Green Bay. He wanted to keep playing. But the Packers told him, hey, Rodgers has been here for 4 years. You got to go. We can't lose him. So to me Favre wasn't mad at teaching Rodgers the ropes and helping him develop to what he was. So when he came in the league, it wasn't that big of a turnover. Like you said, he started off slow, but he finished the year strong. And a couple years later, he won a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But Aaron Rodgers was pissed when they drafted Love, because they drafted Love and not a receiver. So I want to know over the years, I'm sure he taught him, but how much has he really helped Jordan Love? Because there's an interview I watched of Jordan Love, and they basically asked him about Aaron Rodgers, and he's like, I only know him really from it wasn't Jordan Love, sorry. So I don't know if Jordan Love really hung out. I'm just assuming he isn't, because it was a rookie receiver. I think it was Dobbs. I think it was
it was Dobbs.
It was Dobbs that straight up said he never ever hung out a minute outside of the Packers facility of Rodgers off the field. So to me, it's did he really sit down with that kid and teach him so this kid could be successful? Or did he just teach him while he was at practice when the coaches were looking? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Did he do the bare minimum?
Well, I mean, I think he done the bare minimum, and obviously because he wasn't in OTAs, he wasn't there to work with these receivers, and then he expected these receivers to be in the right place at the right time. Like the one time with Christian Washington in the game, you know, they had a walk-off touchdown there. If Watson catches the ball, they have a walk-off touchdown, and Aaron Rodgers. These quarterbacks are programmed to throw it to a spot. They're not programmed to throw it to a receiver. They're programmed to throw it to a spot, and that receiver's supposed to be in that spot. And even Aaron Rodgers in the interview after the game said, if you want to catch touchdowns, be in the right spot. I agree with him there. Now, that doesn't mean that if you see somebody wide open, you shouldn't change what you're supposed to do and hit the receiver. But if you're programmed to throw to a spot and you look at that one spot, once you've thrown that ball, you can't take it back. And if that guy ain't there, he ain't there. So,
No, I agree. It's just like, it just blows my mind that like every Friday, Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers, their whole career are playing together in Green Bay. Every Friday, them guys hang out and they call it the boys' night. He goes over to Aaron's house and they chill and do what they do on Friday night, while they get prepared for the game. So to me, it's like, dude, you're hanging out with Cobb. Like you couldn't bring your rookie wideouts, invite them over too. Because if you're building you got good chemistry with Cobb. Like you would think as a starting quarterback that's crying about wideouts and mad how things go, you would think he would have the whole damn wideout core at his house on Friday nights. Just so you know what I mean? That's what blows my mind. So like that's going back to Jordan Love, that's where I'm anxious to see.
I'm not going to say that I want to see what Jordan Love's got, but I'm also on the same bandwagon as saying that Jordan Love has not proved anything to me yet. I'm the kind of person, Chris, and I've always been like this, is you have to prove to me, and to be honest with you, let's be 100% honest, they really don't have to prove anything to me. They have to prove it to the coaches, because who am I? I'm just a fan. But for me to be a fan of you, you need to prove to me that you can win in a big game, that you can go out there and play a full game and win it and look confident, hit your marks, be accurate, can handle pressure. You need to prove all this stuff to me for me to be on the bandwagon, on your bandwagon, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And right now I'm not.
Yeah. 100%.
Now, is that to say that I won't be? No. It could literally take one good game, maybe two good games, and I might start chasing after that bandwagon. It don't mean I'm going to jump on it, but I might be chasing after it.
Yeah, like fair enough. I was like that with Goff. Like with this broadcast now, because you remember the old stuff we used to do with all trash talk and all the dumb stuff, That's why I've had this ideal to do a real talk show with real fans and see how high I can take this. That's been the whole goal. But
I've always been a realist, man. I'm not going to come on here and talk my team up and just act like they're the bee's knees and the best thing since sliced bread, because if my team's doing the wrong thing, cut the wrong people, and playing shitty and stuff, I'll be the first to call them out. Because I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Because at the end of the day, nothing I say is going to make a difference to what
exactly
does. So
and I wish I started this a little bit earlier. Just it seemed like when I had this ideal and I had it all programmed on how I was going to do it, it just took me a minute it took me all 2 years to get everything set up to be able to do this. But and it sucks because I have no document of it. But I was the same exact way with Goff. The first year I wasn't sold on Goff when he came to Detroit. I was like, all right, Goff, he did. I don't care what anybody says. You can't take the fact away that he made it to the Super Bowl. Did he get it on? Did he take his team on the Super Bowl on his back? No, he didn't. He had a really good defense, and he had one of the at the time until he got hurt that year. He had the best running back in the league, Gurley. Todd Gurley was the running back at that point in time. But the fact is, he gets to the Super Bowl. Gurley gets hurt right before the playoffs. He took the team to the Super Bowl on the offensive side. Yeah, he had Cup. Yeah, he had Robert Woods, but you still got to throw good passes to the guys. You know, and they lost the Super Bowl. But you take the best player to your offense, to your core. You take the best player out of your game plan every week. Any team, chances are they're going to lose the championship game. Like Green Bay makes the Super Bowl with no Rodgers. Do they win that Super Bowl with Jordan Love? Jordan Love has not, and this is Jordan Love with barely any experience. You probably don't. You'd be lucky to make it a close game at that point aspect. No offense to Jordan Love. I mean, but I wouldn't bet that the Packers are still going to win with Jordan Love and no Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? A lot of people. So I looked at that. And I was like, he could be a good quarterback. But last year, with all the trade rumors, all the last season he was with the Rams, Goff played like shit, man, and you could see it. So that's what I was more nervous about. I knew what Jared Goff could do. He's already went to the big game. But then he lost that confidence, and that's when it was like, okay. That could change. That could make him a whole different player when he gets to Detroit. Maybe he's not the same player from 18 when he went to the Super Bowl. So the first year he did all right. He got hurt. The first part of the year we sucked until we finally won a game. But when he came back from his injury and he finished the last season up, that's when I started feeling like we could be okay with Jared Goff, because I looked at the stats. When he came back the first season here from injury, he had the best QB rating the last 6 weeks, or last 6 weeks or 12 weeks of the season. It was one of those two. And I was like, okay, well, shows signs that he's getting his confidence back. And then bam, this year happens. He keeps the offense. He's a top 10 QB all season long. The Lions offense is a top 5 all season long. So, I mean, in that matter, it's like you gotta let the play, you know what I mean? It's nothing's wrong with letting the players prove it to you. You know what I mean? Like, some people went in and bought a Jared Goff jersey the first year he came here. I'm not one of those dudes. I still have not bought a Lions jersey yet. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even own one yet. I'm about to buy one soon. And it's probably gonna be St. Brown or Hutch first. And then I'm gonna get a St. Brown one. I want both, but whatever order I choose to go in. But it's took me a long because I was getting ready to buy one. Actually, I lie. I do have a Stafford signed jersey. I forgot about that. Because I got that.
You got that one hanging on your wall. I've seen it before.
And then I got the Galladay in the frame one. But I mean, like a jersey to wear, I haven't bought one yet. Because I was getting ready to buy a Stafford one to wear. Stafford gets traded. Then I knew what happened. Then I knew what came next. A damn rebuild. So now I'm like, all right. Even though I thought Swift would make it to the rebuild, I still wasn't 100% sure. And now I'm still 100% sure it's because if John Mall comes back, he's going to be the starter. Swift is going to be the speed back. I think Swift will stay in Detroit because he likes it here. So I think I might be okay. I just don't want to buy a guy's jersey right now. And then next thing I know, he's gone. Like, I'm trying to wait until and that's why I'm probably going to go with Hutch and St. Brown, because they're going to be here for a little bit. They ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So I'm safe there, you know what I mean? So it's like, and speaking of that Galladay one, I'm totally fucked on that, bud. When I got that, remember when I told you I won that in an auction?
Yeah.
I was excited about it because I'm like, you know, Galladay's gonna be a good receiver. Even if he leaves Detroit, he's still gonna be a good receiver. I might be able to make some money, you know. If he leaves Detroit, I could probably sell it, you know, maybe make a few bucks on it. You know, nothing big. Now I just like I told my dad, I'm an idiot. Look, I couldn't even sell that for probably $5 right now.
Right.
I mean, who would pay me $5 for a big picture like that framed with Kenny Galladay's signature? Is it even worth anything at this point?
Dude, I got
After he left Detroit?
I got a color rush Devontae Adams folded up on the shelf up I used to have it on a bus. I can't fucking sell that motherfucker to save my life now. I can't.
No, you can't, but maybe not at the moment right now because a Packer fan don't want it. But if you save that and keep it in good condition, he makes the Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure there's diehard Adams fans will love something back. But that's the thing when you buy sports memorabilia. You're supposed to buy it, hold it for a lifetime, or wait till it gets the value of it and then sell it. But
Well,
when you know what I mean, like that, for instance.
this one right here is probably going to be going on Raz over for very long. It's an Aaron Rodgers helmet. I can probably get $1,100 for it right now. But I have if he gets traded or if he retires, I got no guarantee I'm gonna make any money on it. And once he's gone, why do I want it? You know.
I think you might even be able to make more money after he leaves Green Bay.
I seen another one. I seen another one online that was on Raz and it was $1,100.
And this is just my opinion. Think about it. If he leaves Green Bay, you want to sell a helmet. There's a Packer fan somewhere in that world that don't have an Aaron Rodgers helmet. And he might come, and guess what? They're going to want it because they won't get no more memorabilia until he retires. And that's if he chooses to still do signings like that.
Right. If he retires and goes to be a Jeopardy host or whatever the fuck he wants to do, he may never sign another piece of NFL gear again.
Exactly. So I feel like a player like that aspect, anything coming out of Green Bay in a few years. Same with Adams. Like if Adams makes it to the Hall of Fame, but then again, Adams might not be as so high as Rodgers because Adams never won a championship with Rodgers. He wasn't there as long as Rodgers. So his value is probably going to be on the low end. But if he becomes out so crazy, turns out and Hall of Fame and breaks some records and there'll be some value there, later on, but it's not going to be till down the road. And that's like I told my dad, I'm like, dude, I'm an idiot because I bought that at the time Galladay was balling with Stafford. He went to the Giants, and it's 2 years now. He hasn't even caught a touchdown in 2 years.
Right.
Like,
well, Chris, I hate to be rude, but it's 9 o'clock, and I've got to get head out. So I appreciate you having me on. And
no problem. Thank you for joining.
And we'll do it again soon, hopefully.
Oh, for sure. I'll definitely have you on again.
All right, man. Been a good time, appreciate it. Yep, take it easy. We'll see you later. Too, bye, everybody.
All right, guys. It's been the 4th Down broadcast. The first guest, Ron Hampton. That's all we got for you tonight. Stay tuned. Advertisement will be up 4th Down in sports. I'll put the next advertisement for the next episode when we know what day and what time the next one will be. If there's not another one during the week, it definitely will be Sunday. All right, guys. Have a good one. Later, Ron.
Later.